What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. Continuing on through a wave or 100 wave lichen mode survival playlist just for farming runes. We're up to Act 4. Now, as always, the best place to farm runes is going to be on mix mode, Massacre, Hardcore, Rifted, and with a Lichen King bonus difficulty. So you're going to want to do mixed mode runs to have the best chance of getting an 8 out of 8 rune. As I've mentioned in the other videos, though, sometimes you just kind of want to Netflix and chill, and there's no better place for that than Lichen King Survival. So let's go ahead and pop on into an Act 4 map, and I think Act 4 is kind of a no-brainer. First off, if you're still needing Arcanist gear or weapons, then you're going to want to farm the keep on mix mode. Just do it. You're going to get your Arcanist gear, you're going to get your weapons, and get some runes at the same time. However, if you've already got that stuff and you want to go into chill mode, Foundries and Forges is just where it's at. So let's go ahead and hop on in. We'll do a Wave 101 start on this one, and we'll go Lichen King difficulty. This particular build with some quality runes is going to scale up to like wave 300-ish. However, with lower quality or no runes, it's going to start to struggle after wave 100. Now, there's only one rune required for this one, and you're going to need at least a 6 out of 8. And that is the Immolation rune for the Heat Cannon. Immolation for the Heat Cannon is just good stuff. At least 6 out of 8 quality to get it done on this one. So we're going to start things off with, you guessed it, an Ensnare Aura and an Electric Aura. Then we're going to go ahead and swap on over to that EV, and we're going to drop Heat Cannons for days. So we want 3 Heat Cannons on each lane. Just pointed straight down the lane is fine. Nothing fancy required. Additionally, no buff beam rune is required for this build either. However, if you have one, it's only going to make it stronger because we're going in small groups. So with that in mind, if you do have the buff beam rune, you're going to want to give your Electric Aura its own buff beam by itself, and then one on the Heat Cannons. If you don't have the electric or the buff beam rune, then don't worry about that one for the Electric Aura, and then just go right on the Heat Cannons themselves. Then we'll go ahead and drop 3 Heat Cannons this way. We'll throw a buff beam on it. And then now it's just time to reflect it up. So we're going to go 1 reflect beam right here. We're going to go 1 reflect beam right here, and then we're going to do some wonkiness here on this particular lane. We're going to go with 1 reflect beam here, and then we're going to go with a big boy 3D reflect beam stretching all the way back to the wall. It doesn't need to be 3DU, it just needs to be placeable. So by the longer ones you get here to the higher arc, and it's easier to place. So you've got 6 remaining DU left. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. And as always, we are going to be boosting it out on a Summoner with a Striking and a Speedy Gemstone. Now, we're going to want the Striking and the Speedy Gemstone on the Auras. There's one more key fact to say here about this build. If you have the power level and you remove the Ensnare Aura, it makes the waves run so much faster. If you are questionable with the power level, and you just don't put the Striking on the Ensnare Aura, it's also going to help the wave clear times. Now, additionally, with all this leftover DU, you can do whatever you want with that. You can add in, like, say, one of those Roots of Purity. Let's get our good roots here, our max range roots. You can put Roots of Purity for a second or additional tier of slow. I guess I should have placed that prior. Let's just go ahead and slap it right there. Actually, it's going to get hit right there. So can we sneak it in anywhere? It looks like we can get one in right there. Let's just slap our root down in right there for additional level of CC. Once again, The only rune requirement there is just having it. Obviously, if you have a godly one, it's going to be better. However, it's still going to be effective and going to give you that additional tier of slow stacking, even just having a tier 1. So any quality of rune on the Roots of Purity, remember that slow does stack with the Ensnare aura, and it really puts the brakes on all of the bads. So let me go ahead and spam the rest of these upgrades in. And you want to, this map particularly, I've kind of stressed it the entire time. I know instinctively you want to play with your little bomber pets. However, if you play with gemstones instead, you're going to get that tower boost, but additionally, you're going to be able to stay in Overlord mode. By being in Overlord mode, Sirens are not going to cast on you, and Dark Elf Warriors are not going to attack you. So let's just go ahead and let it fly here. We're just going to sit here and boost it out, it completely ignoring any of the portals. This is an AFK and Chill build designed specifically for Netflix, and I got to tell you, I've used this one quite a bit to lots of success. And like I said, even on Lycan King difficulty with some gear and some runes, you will easily push this to wave 300 or so on Lycan King difficulty. So piece of cake there. You see our first ogre just instantly got melted. That Immolate rune really shines on this map. I do, like I mentioned, I do suggest at least a 6 out of 8 quality. Now obviously the higher quality Immolate rune you have, the better results you're going to get as always. However, no 8 of 8 runes are required for this build at all. The heat cannons just shred things, just no doubt about that. Now, here is the downside on this map. You know, we've got a little bit of a wait at the end of the waves. You see we've got 5 enemies left, 3 enemies left. So the waves don't run slow, but they're not exactly screaming either. So you do have a little bit of delay waiting for the Sirens, and what's causing this is those Ensnare auras. So as I mentioned, if you don't use the Ensnare auras, if you have the power level to do so, the map is going to run much quicker. Additionally, you can even downsize your Ensnare auras and make them much smaller and get lots of effect in there as well. So this, for Act 4, this was my go-to map for farming. Now, obviously, there's lots of reason to farm the Keep right now, particularly with the forced stats on Arcanist and Fusion gear changing. So lots of good stuff to be had on the Keep. If you're doing that one, though, you're going to want to do it on mix mode. But here we go. Act 4, Netflix and Chill. Foundries and Forges is just where it's at. But that will do it for this episode. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.